be upstanding to receive the worshipful mayor of Oldham Metropolitan Borough, Councillor Javid Iqbal.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for attending my final meeting. I'd like to invite my chaplain, Mr. Zahur Chishti, to say prayers. Thank you, sir.
In the name of the Lord God, the most compassionate, the most merciful, our sustainer, our guide to true success, ever present, never unaware of his creations, infinitely able, your grace and your loving care for the whole of mankind. Guide us to pure convictions and belief, then inspire and encourage us to match those convictions. We pray for peace, not war, love, not hate, benevolence, not greed, unity, not division, and we commit ourselves to not betraying our prayers with actions that contradict them, no matter where we live. Let us be for truth, no matter who or for is against it, and justice, no matter who or for it is against, and hope, no matter what obstacles lie ahead in these difficult times. Let us not be deterred by the hatred that has claimed the lives of innocent worshippers across the world, but emboldened by the love that gathered them together to remember you and gathered us together to remember them. Let us not be overcome by the darkness of evil and spite and enmity, nor the slumber of indifferences that turns humans into hashtags, neighbors into enemies, and friends into foes. Let us be the light that we seek from you in the form of love, unity, cohesion, equality, and fairness. O Lord God, guide the deliberations of our members of this council to just and fair decisions, and guide our nation, and specifically the people of Oldham, to the abode of reconciliation. May we honor one another, care for each other, and respect each other, glorify you together, and inspire the world to be a better place for us and for our generations to come. Today marks the second anniversary of the Manchester Arena attacks, which took place on the 22nd of May 2017, in which 22 people lost their precious lives, 112 people were injured, and more than 800 non-fatal injuries took place. We pray earnestly for the victims and their families who were affected. May the souls of those who passed away rest in peace, and the Lord God bless patience to all those affected. Amen. Can we pray for a minute's silence?
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Thank you. Please may I have your nominations for the office of Mayor of Oldham Metropolitan Borough for the municipal year 2019-2020. I call upon Councillor Harrison, Councillor Chris Gloucester, Councillor Hudson to speak for Councillor Ginny Alexander. Councillor Harrison.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, Lord Lieutenant's Deputy of Greater Manchester, Honorary Freeman and Honorary Aldermen of the Borough, honoured and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure that I move the motion to nominate my friend and my colleague, Councillor Ginny Alexander, for the office of Mayor of the Metropolitan Borough of Oldham for the municipal year 2019-20. After years of being active in the community, the Labour Party and local politics, Ginny was encouraged by her husband Adrian to stand for election in their home ward of St James. Adrian had been elected councillor for Saddleworth West and Lees ward in 2011. Ginny was duly elected in 2014 and last year successfully defended her seat. Ginny, or Eugenia as she was christened, she was very kind to her. She decided to make it Ginny because she thought it was easier to pronounce, was born in Oldham Hospital in 1955 to a Russian father and a Hungarian mother, an example of the richly diverse heritage in our borough. Ginny is the oldest of three, having a younger sister and a brother. Sadly, Ginny's parents are no longer with us, but Ginny knows they will be very proud of her, first of all becoming a councillor and today the Mayor of the Oldham Metropolitan Borough. Since the death of her mum in 2008, Ginny has been a carer for her brother who has mental health issues. Jenny lived and was educated in Oldham, and she went to Alexandra Park Infant and Junior School and Breeze Hill Secondary School. Family circumstances led to her leaving school at the age of 15 and taking up employment. Her first job was office junior at a company called Times Assurance. After 3 years, she moved to Ferranti Measurements in Hollingwood, where she stayed for 10 years as a meter examiner. And Ginny worked part-time in her evenings behind the bar of the Heart to Topper pub in Oldham. I'm sure there are a few other people in here who remember the Heart to Topper, and I think it's still there. She remembers fondly the many amazing people that she met there. And this turned out to be a taste of things to come because, and we're coming to the main event now, Ginny met Adrian in the Oldham nightclub Dreamers. They married in July 1990 and became landlords together in pubs in Cornwall, London and Oldham. However, it wasn't the lure of becoming a landlord that brought Middlesex-born Adrian to Oldham. He'd enjoyed great success on the rugby union field in the south of England and became an international player with England under-23s. But at the age of 26, he accepted an invitation to play professional rugby league for Oldham, where again he enjoyed great success. But their paths were destined to cross, and the rest, as they say, is history. And Ginny and Adrian celebrate 29 years of marriage in July this year. During her time on the council, Ginny has been a deputy cabinet member, firstly in social care and safeguarding, where she became a Mayoral board member, a member of the Learning Disability Board and Adaptations Panel. Last year, she was deputy in the Communities portfolio and also deputy mayoress. She was expecting to be standing on the dais today, but not in the big gold chain and the big red coat. Life certainly has a way of surprising us. Ginny works hard for the people who elected her to represent them in St James Ward. And it's important to her to be a great community champion. Amongst many other things, She's proud of the achievement, with friends Kath and Linda, of setting up the over 60s luncheon club at Moorside Cricket and Bowling Club, which has gone from strength to strength and now has 75 people attending. This is real community politics. She's also worked hard with Rose Johnson from the Shoulder Community Centre to bring in Eric Noy of Boxing Club fame to help tackle antisocial behaviour in the area. Ginny works closely with her ward colleagues to support disadvantaged people in the community. And I know from experience, and I'm sorry to mix my metaphors, but when she's got the bit between her teeth, she's like a dog with a bone. She just doesn't give up. However, Ginny's life isn't entirely about politics and service. She does take some time for herself. She enjoys attending Slimming World, learning about healthy recipes, which she tries out on her ever-forgiving husband. Ginny also enjoys socialising, and I'll leave that to your imagination, walking, gardening for relaxation, and reading, and especially her book of herbs and teas. She has a dream of one day opening a place serving healing teas and healthy shakes. It might be something that we'll all be glad of one day. And no glimpse into Ginny's life would be complete without a mention of Garfield. Who's Garfield? Well, he's her beloved cat, who's really in competition for Adrian in Ginny's heart. He came into her life when he was cruelly tossed out of a car onto the lane at the side of their house. Ginny adopted him immediately and couldn't give him up, even though she and Adrian were going away the next day to visit friends. And luckily, some kind-hearted neighbours stepped in and looked after him until his new mum came home. And I think that's just another facet of Ginny, a kind-heartedness, and again, a commitment not just to human beings, but to the animal kingdom as well. I know that Ginny will put her heart and soul into being a great mayor. She'll bring warmth and humour to any event in the borough and will be a worthy ambassador for Oldham at events outside the borough. I wish her and Adrian as a wonderfully supporting consort, fulfilment, great joy and happiness in their mayoral year. I call on Council to support this nomination. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison, for your kind words. I call on Councillor Chris Gloucester to speak, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, Lord Lieutenant's Deputy of Greater Manchester, Honorary Freeman and Honorary Alderman of the Borough, honoured and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I rise to second the nomination of Councillor Ginny Alexander as Mayor of Oldham Metropolitan Borough Council for the municipal year 2019-20. Oldham is a place of firsts, from the first Yates's Wine Lodge, the first test tube baby, more recently our first Bengali heritage female councillor, and now our first Russian/Hungarian heritage female mayor-elect. Ginny is the offspring of Russian and Hungarian parents, as we've been told, who met in Oldham, having fled to England to avoid persecution during World War II. Her parents met in Oldham and settled down to married life in Glodick on Landseer Street, which is just a short distance away from this chamber. Ginny spent her childhood on Glodick, which was then the most diverse area of Oldham, with a mix of many heritages living peacefully side by side with each other, something which these days we seem to be an ambition to us rather than the reality as it was then. At one time, Glodick had a thriving Ukrainian population, and a lot of Glodick's social life was centred around the Ukrainian club on Waterloo Street, the main road which runs through the centre of Glodick. One of Ginny's fondest childhood memories are attending the Yuki Club, as it was popularly known and affectionately known, and dancing the polka and waltzes, having been taught to dance by her dad, who she delightedly told me waltzed around the club on her 16th birthday. When the club closed, Ginny didn't let this deter her, and she went to School Street along with her sister Karen to continue her dancing. Ginny's dad not only taught her to dance, but he also taught her how to play dominoes, another skill that would stand her in good stead for adult life. So therefore, a misspent youth in the Ukrainian club, dancing and dominoes, was good training for her to enter the licensing trade, along with husband of 29 years, Adrian, running public houses all over the country, before coming back to Oldham, a darts champion and dominoes player with many trophies to prove it. So we could see another first for Oldham, a dartboard in the Mayor's parlour, but we'll have to wait and see. When I was writing this speech last night, I had the television on in the background, and funnily enough, there was a question on it about the Pet Shop Boys' top 10 hits. One of the answers was domino dancing, so needless to say, I think that perhaps that needs to be Ginny's theme tune for her mayoral year. Ginny is a no-nonsense woman. She's a Gladic girl who's done good, who, with the support of her husband Adrian as her consort, will maintain the tradition of being an outstanding first citizen in Oldham, and I ask that you support this nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chris Gloucester, for the kind words. I call on Councillor Hudson to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, Lord Lieutenant's Deputy of Greater Manchester, Honorary Freeman and Honorary Alderman of the Borough, honoured and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and the rest of us. I rise to support the nomination of Councillor Ginny Alexander, and I think it's a pleasing one that people in the Metropolitan Borough will appreciate, particularly in view of the fact that her husband, having served as Deputy Mayor, is no longer able to take on the mantle of Mayor, will be the consort. And I think this is the best compromise, that I think it shines light on every one of the 60 councillors to have done this and to send out the message to the Metropolitan Borough of Oldham that we are determined that the morality will be part of the Metropolitan Borough of Oldham, and Ginny is part of that. She's a person who not only went to Alexandra School, but loved going into Alexandra Park. Loved the park and the running activities. She went to Breeze Hill School. She was quite a good runner, but in them days, unfortunately, Ginny, this happens to most of us, the opportunities just weren't there to take things up. So she's ended up on Oldham Council. But how nice to think that she's going to be the Mayor of the Metropolitan Borough. And I can assure her that the people of Oldham do regard their Mayor, and they will respond to Ginny's ability to deal with people. And I think her relatives and friends must be really pleased today that she's going to take on this mantle so her husband, Adrian, can be part of the Metropolitan Borough for the ensuing year. I know Mrs. Harrison was very polite when she said Ginny likes socialising. She means she likes a drink. Well, we all do, and I'm looking forward to a mayor that likes a drink, because we've had some miserable ones, but I'm not going to mention them. I'm not going to mention them because I don't think it's right. And also, I hope to be here for a while longer yet, although I've only come today to prove I'm not dead. I think it's nice to think that Ginny has been given this post because, as been said by the proposer, she's the type of person that will respond to being the mayor, because she's the type, and I'm not suggesting the other 59 aren't, but I'm saying she is one that can reach out and serve people regardless of their politics, and that's what you need to do to be the mayor. and I think she'll be very successful, and I'm very pleased to stand and support the name of Councillor Ginny Alexander to be the worshipful, the Mayor of the Metropolitan Borough of Oldham for the ensuing year.
Thank you, Councillor Hudson, for your kind words, and nice to see you're alive and with us. Thank you. All those in favour, please show. That seems to be unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you. Councillors, will Councillors Harrison, Gloucester and Hudson now go and search the precincts of the Civic Centre for Councillor Ginny Alexander, and when they have found her, bring her hither.
Oh, there is some water now. Are there any cups? Do we want? Not very warm, not warm. It does when it's over. Yeah. I can't see her. Can't see with those glasses on. The other, Miss Yvonne, this is glasses still in the room. I can see what you mean, but she's lower down, isn't she? Yeah. Yeah. I saw her the other day, actually. She parked on the side of the campfire. And I said, oh, you have a sales rep. So, European elections.
Councillor Ginny Alexander, I am delighted to inform you that by the consent of the Council you have been duly elected as Mayor of Oldham Metropolitan Borough for the forthcoming municipal year, and I am invited you to join me on the dais. Please step forward.
I, Eugenia Alexander, having been elected to the office of Mayor of the Metropolitan Borough of Oldham, hereby declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the adopted Code of Conduct in the performance of my functions in that office. please be seated. Lord Lieutenant Deputy of Greater Manchester, Honorary Freeman and Honorary Alderman of the Borough, Member and Officers of the Council, honoured and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot explain to you how happy and grateful I am to be here today. Oh, don't cry. I know my parents would have been extremely proud of me to take this important role as the Mayor of Oldham. I was born at Oldham Hospital and lived on Landsea Street in Glodick with my sister Karen, brother Paul, and of course my parents, Elia and Caroline. My father was Russian, my mother Hungarian. They came to England in the early 1950s due to the severe disruption in Europe after the Second World War. During my childhood, I spent most of my time in Alexandra Park, after school and on weekends, as well as during the holiday periods. No Blackpool for me, I'm afraid. As a child, I went to Alexandra Infants and Juniors, then on to Breezehill Secondary Modern. Then leaving school at 15, I went off and started my journey in the big wide world. I have met so many wonderful people on my journey through life, such as my husband Adrian, whom I met whilst he played for Oldham Rugby League. After his career ended, we toured around the country to manage pubs. We saw some of the most beautiful places, although my heart was always with Oldham, where my family and friends are, which brought us back to Oldham, the town I love so much and will forever be dear to my heart. I worked for Oldham Council in the security department, then moved on to trading standards. After retiring from trading standards, Adrian persuaded me to join the world of politics. So for the last 5 years, I've been a councillor on St James Ward. As the Mayor, I have chosen charities and organisations to support during my time as Mayor. Firstly, the Stephen Gartland Foundation, which was set up by Brad Gartland in honour of his father, who had took his life in August 2016. Its purposes are to promote good mental health within our communities, to help them to feel confident, to talk to others about the issues that they are facing. Due to the Gartland's family and Adrian's passion for sport, they will help to support the community's local sports clubs with the equipment and the kits they need for sporting activities. The Steve Gartland Foundation also helps to seek funding from other organisations. I have asked the leader, Sean Fielding, for his backing, to which I received a positive yes, meaning that the children who can't afford the kit will be fully able to enjoy the sports they love. Secondly, I have chosen Christie's Oldham, which is an organisation which helps people combat cancer. My husband was diagnosed with cancer in early 2014, which he has now conquered with the aid of this magnificent organisation. To our friends, relations, and all those who have lost their dearest, we send our best and heartfelt prayers to their families. I would like for us all as a family in Oldham to combat this awful disease together. The third charity we would like to support is Dr. Kershaw's, whom had cared for my father before he died. Dr. Kershaw's are very well known for their wonderful hard work and dedication, which is why I have chosen to support them during my mayoral year. I will be supporting Tog Mind, a charity who helps the young and the old with mental health issues, as I recognise that this is a growing problem in all generations, and I will do my absolute best to help support them wherever they need. I feel that Action Oldham would be a beneficial organisation to support, as they change local lives by supporting smaller voluntary groups, as well as community groups across the borough. Grants are given to smaller volunteer-led groups, such as Older People's Luncheons Club, mental health support subgroups, disability sporting groups, and the disadvantaged youth. These smaller groups help to enhance the health and well-being, to rebuild lives that are affected by poverty, crime, isolation or unemployment. I would like to add Madlaw onto the list of my chosen charities as requested by Terry Flanagan, as he would like to come on board the Mayor's Committee Appeal Fund to help support Oldham's youth, bringing them off the streets and into a fun, safe environment. Finally, I have chosen Pennine Pen Animal Rescue and RSPCA Oldham branch due to my love of animals and the amazing work I have witnessed by these charities who care for and take in hurt and abandoned animals. I am certain to support more charities during my mayoral year. Thank you for listening. Please can I ask for a vote of thanks for the retiring Mayor and retiring Mayoress for their services during the past municipal year. Councillor Akhtar to move.
Madam Mayor, Lord Lieutenant Deputy of Greater Manchester, Honorary Freeman and Honorary Alderman of the Borough, members and officers of the Council, honoured and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Madam Mayor, could I be the first to formally congratulate you on becoming the first citizen of the Borough, and all the best of the luck for the rest of the year. And I'm confident that you'll be a fabulous Mayor. Madam Mayor, it's a great pleasure to move the vote of thanks for the retiring Mayor, Councillor Javed Iqbal. I think you'll all agree with me that Javed and Taslim carried the duties of Mayor with great pride, dignity, respect, and most of all, with a big smile. I think they're a couple for all seasons, and no task was too big for them. I was actually wondering which character will Javed actually turn up as today. Will it be the Javed that we know, and obviously he has, or will it be Mr T, or as Kojak? We knew Councillor Javed was a large character, but I didn't realise that he would actually go onto stage and do a Britain's Got Talent sketch. I actually didn't know that he had those moves in him by now. For those of you who weren't there, our Mayor went on stage at the Mayor's Ball and did a copy sketch of Britain's Got Talent performance at the Mayor's Ball, along with one of our teachers from Hathershaw School. And it was actually a really fabulous performance by Javed and Mr Raz. Mr Mayor has kept to his words in terms of inspire to aspire. I've seen Javed in the corridor outside with lots of school children, all tentatively listening to him. I've also overheard teachers and carers say that the Mayor has been truly inspiring the children. He inspired the Radcliffe School children, and they raised over £1,500 for the Mayor's charity, which is an excellent achievement by those young people from our secondary school. Furthermore, the local communities across Oldham are also saying that this Mayor has really been a people's Mayor. Sharing his life as Mayor on social media, he turned mayoralty into fun, with him disguising as different characters. Javed has always been up for a challenge, especially if it means dressing up. I think his best persona was Mr T from the A-Team. Javed has worked tirelessly throughout the year on fundraising for his charities, whether that was attending fundraising events or making special appearances as Mr T or Kojak. He was actually dressed up as Mr T when taking part in the Saddleworth Santa Dash. He says he actually completed the 5K, but I don't actually believe him, but we'll have to take his word for it, to be honest with you. He was also challenged by an 81-year-old young lady to a mile swim at one of our local swimming pools. Again, he stepped up to the challenge and swam the agreed lengths. Here are some anecdotes of people's response to his mayoralty on everyday life or through social media. They've said, amazing, friendly, approachable, and committed to the people of Oldham. People love the fact that they can have a chat to the Mayor and share their aspirations about their projects. He hasn't actually missed a single charity or community event throughout the year. Javed and Taslim, thank you for all your hard work throughout the year and for putting the fun in the mayoralty. Javed, you surely have been a people's Mayor. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Chris Gloucester to second.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think if anybody calls you Mr Mayor, you need to fine them £5 towards your charity. I guarantee it'll happen. Lord Lieutenant's Deputy of Greater Manchester, Honorary Freeman and Honorary Alderman of the Borough, honoured and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I rise to second the vote of thanks to our former Mayor, Javed Iqbal, and the Mayoress for an absolutely outstanding year in office. Javed started off his mayoral year by telling us his big and bold catchphrase, and he most certainly has not let us down. With a personality to match, he's raised the profile of Mayor and has been 100% committed to the role, which I'm sure is absolutely no easy task. Every mayor is unique, but there's always something that touches me and stays with me about each mayor. Atiku Rahman was the first mayor after I was elected. He inspired me when he presented the Holy Quran used during his mayoral year to his son, emphasising that this was a book of peace, something which has stuck with me. Durrick Heffernan brought home to me how a mayor, in the face of personal adversity, put so much effort into the role, wearing his heart on his sleeve a lot, and he inspired us with his love of peace and becoming the United Kingdom's first mayor of peace. Shadab Kumar demonstrated to us the importance and value of family. Javid Iqbal has done all these things in bucketfuls, but he's always retained his humility, dignity and respect during his term of office of our first citizen, no matter how he was dressed. And then during the image that I will retain of Javid is his attempt to dance the haka at the Sports Awards, I think it was. That is a dance that the rugby team do beforehand, and it's meant to intimidate your opponents. So Javid certainly intimidated me, and I wonder whether he intimidated the rest of the people that were there. What has really inspired me about Javid, though, is his desire to embrace all faiths whilst he's been mayor, and his decision to invite different faith leaders to open each council meeting was not only inclusive, but it was inspirational. And I know, and I won't repeat this, but I know Javid has inspired many people during his engagements across the borough and wider. When he's attended events in my ward, it has always been with a wide smile and a cheery persona. And he's gone out of his way to make everybody feel welcome and engaged with him. He's never been one to miss a photo opportunity, and whereas people normally want a photo taken with the mayor, for some reason, he drags people up for photos rather than the other way around. He's truly a Twitter mayor because he's always on Twitter, and he actually likes things that I put on Twitter, which I'm really impressed with. If we remember back, I said that Javid was the 45th mayor of Oldham, whereas Donald Trump was the 45th President of the United States. So, obviously, when Ginny became mayor, I struggled a bit because we haven't had a 46th President or anything, so the only thing I could think of, you've been a very worthy mayor, but you've been replaced by Alexander the Great. So, what I'm going to do next year for Harrison, I have no idea. So to sum up, Javid has been an outstanding mayor. He's acquitted himself admirably, and all Oldhamers should be proud of and take heed from his commitment to this town as its first citizen. And I ask that you support this vote of thanks. Thank you.
Councillor Hudson to support.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, Lord Lieutenant's Deputy of Greater Manchester, Honorary Freeman and Honorary Alderman of the Borough, councillors, honoured and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very easy task for the three of us today to say, well done, Mr. Mayor. But what we should be saying is well done to the Mayoress and to his family, who've been a team. They've shown Oldham that you do this job as a team, and they have done that as a team, and I welcome that. And I think, Mr. Mayor, as well as the fun, you've had the serious side. I think you've been a very confident mayor. You've come in here and you've made sure that decisions were taken fairly, squarely, and you've stuck to the rule book. And that's why I think there's more to be in the mayor than meets the eye. It isn't all parties and dinners and putting your feet up. Sometimes it's endless amounts of chairing meetings, and you can't even go for a wee when you want, and I know that. So I think, Javid, you've been wonderful, and I think you've shown at a time when we need to knit together, when national people, and I won't mention his name, I don't want to give him publicity, but certain people mention things about Oldham that have never ever been to Oldham. And I think your morality answered all that, because we all came together to support you. And what was nicer, you had your wife at your side and your daughter, and I hope your daughter is better, because I do realise she went to a hospital visit recently, and I hope she's a lot better. She has stepped in admirably when your wife has been unavailable, and as a team, you've done a good job. So, Team Javid Iqbal, well done.
Retiring Mayor's speech.
Madam Mayor, Lord Lieutenant Deputy of Greater Manchester, Honourary Freeman and Honourary Alderman of the Borough, members and officers of the Council, honoured and distinguished guests, and everybody else watching on the internet, especially my daughter Sam, who can't be with us today because she's in hospital recovering from an illness, and my extended family, locally and nationally. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. Please bear with me if I lose my thoughts and composition, as I wish that my parents were with me at this memorable occasion, and also my daughter Sam, who is currently in hospital recovering from a serious infection. My parents and all the early community settlers, Subhanallah, with your prayers I am what I am because of your guidance. You taught me to be caring, compassionate, sincere and honest, and I hope I have made you proud this year by successfully completing my mayoralty and carrying out the roles and responsibilities to the best of my abilities. As I said at the beginning of my year, I'm big and I'm bold. Not many people would have thought I'd say those words, I'm big and bold, but I seem to have got away with it. Just lost my thought for a second. So I said, I'm big and bold, and together let's inspire to aspire. And lots of people are now repeating the same sentence. together, let's inspire to aspire. And I think, you know, I've inspired a number of individuals from the local borough. Who would have thought I would take on additional celeb personas as Mr. T from the A-Team, or Kojak, or a sketch from Britain's Got Talent, or even dressing up as Santa and running around in Alexandra Park. There's footage of that on YouTube. All my personas have been extremely and exceptionally well received. A truly memorable time my Mayoralty has been. But none of this would have been possible without the support of my fellow councillors, my community, local businesses, the Mayor's Appeals charity team. Thank you from my family and myself for supporting me and making this a wonderful, memorable, once-in-a-lifetime year. Thank you very much. Also equally important to my success were my back office staff, Nicola and Kimberly, Conrad, Joe and the comms team. Thank you very much. And the staff on reception, you know, it wouldn't have been possible without the additional staff that we have here, so thank you very, very much. During the year, I've tried to be myself and share my experiences of the Mayoralty by attending as many engagements as possible. And I've been advised this morning that I've attended around 470 engagements this year. So it's been a busy year, but I've managed to raise not the target that I wanted to, but something called Brexit kind of got in the way. So if all the donations come in, we're looking around £53,000. That's what I've raised so far. So for all those of you who promised and haven't donated, they've still got a couple of days' time, you know, come and see Nicola or the online donation form. But, you know, the funds are still coming in. Thank you to everybody for keeping your promises and, you know, making the contributions. So as a gratitude to my staff, my team, I have a number of presents for my office staff. So Nicola and Kimberly, would you come to the diocese, please? Mr. Conrad? Where has he gone? Okay. Do we have any representatives from the comms team? Please, sir. Sir, thank you very much for all your support. Thank you very much for that's the response to the Thank you. So, absolutely honoured because, you know, we have really, really dedicated staff who have stepped out of their normal roles to help me. And so thank you very much for that. Also, two very important people in my life throughout the Mayoralty. My uncle, Mohammed Yusuf, who has been a pillar behind me and has supported me tirelessly. So I'd like to call my uncle to the diocese, please. So again, Mr. Arif Chaudhry, most of you will know him, he's been tirelessly following me throughout my mayoralty as a social media journalist. And wherever I've been, he's been there before me. Dedicated individual throughout my mayoralty. So again, thank you very much, Arif Saab. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Just a couple of more presents. Now, none of this would have been possible without the dedicated support of my family. My daughter-in-laws, my grandsons who stole the show at the charity ball by doing the floss on stage. You know, for those of you who were there, they were absolutely amazing. And, you know, they tried showing me the floss moves, but I just can't get the hips to move that quickly. Old age is setting in. Both my mayoresses, my daughter, Sam, and my wife, you know, every successful man has a successful lady behind him. I have two, my daughter and my wife. So thank you very much to the family. And as a token of appreciation, I've got some small gifts for them. So please bear with me. I did say small. So, could you come over here and say that, please? So while myself and the missus have been out at engagements, my daughter-in-law has been running the house, cooking, catering, and looking after the kids, and feeding us as well. So, as a token of my appreciation, I have a small gift for you. There you go. Sorry? You could buy a half a Range Rover. Yeah. So the thing is, the ladies prefer something bling, so this is basically what it is. So thank you very much indeed. And this is for the mayoress, if I can open it. Again, so, and then the daughter has one as well. How could I leave my daughter, otherwise I'd never go home. So, yeah, thank you very much to my family. I would also like to vote of thanks to Adrian Alexander, my Deputy Mayor. He's been an absolute inspiration to me, always willing to step in at the last second, and literally at the last second. You know, Adrian, what are you doing? Nothing. Can you cover it in half an hour? Yes, I'm ready. So, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. So, it's been an absolute honour to be the Mayor 2018-2019 and at 19. And my final words, together, let's inspire to aspire. Thank you very much. Thank you.
May I ask Councillor Sean Fielding to give a vote of thanks, please?
Madam Mayor, Lord Lieutenant's Deputy, Honorary Freeman and Aldermen of the Borough, members and officers of the Council, honoured and distinguished guests. And first of all, I'd like to begin by saying congratulations, Madam Mayor, on taking office today. You deserve this. But I do rise to give a vote of thanks to Adrian Alexander as the retiring Deputy Mayor. And on behalf of all members of the Council, I would like to thank you. There is no doubt about how hard Adrian worked throughout his deputy mayoral year and also in the ward of Saddleworth West and Lees as the councillor for 2 terms. Anybody who saw the number of photographs that featured in his re-election bid leaflet this year can be in no doubt about how hard he worked. Now, I know that there were many people in this room and beyond this room who thought that we might have been in for a bumpy ride had Adrian been chair of council business this year. Some of them looked to it in anxiety, some of them with great anticipation. And I would say that both were misguided, because there was one meeting not so long ago where Adrian was instrumental in diffusing the atmosphere when I made some infamous comments about parish councils not so long ago, and I thank you for that. On a personal note, thank you, Adrian, for your advice, your guidance and your encouragement over the last year for my first year as the leader of the council. I know I didn't always answer your calls, but it was nothing personal, as Councillor Davis will tell you. Now, I'm delighted that despite the electorate having other plans, the Alexanders will still go on to be the first citizens of the borough for the forthcoming municipal year. And whilst I cannot stretch to an extravagant gift, I will buy you a pint in Molino's after the meeting. Thank you very much.
Can I please ask for nominations to appoint the office of Deputy Mayor for the municipal year 2019-20? Councillor Fielding to move, please.
Move, Councillor Harrison.
Councillor Sykes to second.
Second, Madam Mayor.
All those in favour, please show. Unanimous. Councillor Harrison, will you please join me on the dais?
I, Jennifer May Harrison, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of the Metropolitan Borough of Oldham, hereby declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the adopted Code of Conduct in the performance of my functions in that office. And Councillor Zahi Chauhan will be sharing the role of Deputy Mayor's Consort. So please can I ask you both to join me on the dais? Press are invited to take photos.
I am pleased to announce the appointment of my chaplain, Reverend Denise Owen. I would like to invite you all to join me in the traditional procession to Oldham Parish Church for my civic service on Sunday, 26th of May. We will leave in procession at 10 a.m. from the Civic Centre. Lord Lieutenants, Deputy of Greater Manchester, Honorary Freeman and Honorary Alderman of the Borough, members and officers of the Council, honoured and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, will you please join me for our luncheon in the Queen Elizabeth Hall, and Council will reassemble at 3:30. Thank you.